Hi everyone, it's Icaro, and let's get started with the oracle cards that I have here. I have a lot more than just 10 oracle decks, as I think a lot of us do. But these are like kind of like my top 10 that I keep reaching to, um, just because the readings are awesome, the the messages are really good, and not only the messages that come in the books along with the oracle decks, but the messages that I get intuitively as well. um, for me, I'm a very visual person. So when I look at an image, I want that image to invoke something in me, right? And I think for a lot of us too, that our card readers are very much like that. So let's get started. This is my number 10, I guess. It's the Eternal Crystals. They're not in any order of importance or any order of I like this one the worst because it's number 10. They're all so different to me that I just kind of picked up, and they're in random order, to be honest with you. But number 10 is the Eternal Crystals. And I'll be honest, it's my only crystal deck because I love it so much. I got it a few years ago, and I look at other crystal decks and I love them. They look beautiful. There's a crystal mandala one that I find to be incredibly gorgeous. But this one has worked so well for me and for clients that I'm almost hesitant to pick up another crystal deck because this one works so well. So this is the back, and these are the images. So then you have zincite, and then you have physical body and the root chakra, and then you have selenite, which is peace, and then crown chakra. So you have the crystals, citrine, and then you have kind of like what they're for, abundance and creativity, and then you have the chakra that it's related to, so solar plexus. And how many? It's 44 cards, which I think is a good number. You have obsidian, you have your larimar, unikite. So there's a lot of different crystals here, of course, 44 different crystals. And the book here doesn't look very impressive. It's very thin. The messages are about 1 page long, but I do find these messages to always be dead on. They have always kind of been dead on, not just for me, but for clients as well, for other people. And it doesn't matter if I pull them, it doesn't matter if the person pulls them. It's always accurate. So I love this one by Jade Sky. Okay. So the next deck I have is an oldie but a goodie. Well, everyone has this deck. It's the Energy Oracle cards, and by Sandra Ann Taylor. And I love this deck because it's. I'm looking at how many cards are on here, but it's not saying. Oh, 53. Sorry, it's right here. Not in the back. It's in the front. 53. And that's a good number to me. But as a tarot card reader myself, I find that these associate very well with tarot. So if I'm reading for someone that's skeptical for tarot, I will introduce this deck to them. And also the images are really rich. So you have Deceit, which I would associate normally with the devil. Blossoming Abundance, this to me feels very much like the Ace of Pentacles. You have All Tied Up. This to me feels like the Eight of Swords. So they have different, the Thinking Woman, this to me is the Queen of Swords. And then plus you have symbolism. You have the stairs, kind of like, where is she going? Maybe she's rising up in consciousness. She has a book. She likes to learn. She's a thinking woman, right? Then you have the butterflies, the Temple Path. I love this one as well. This one to me feels like a mixture of different ones. The Temple Path feels like High Priestess mixed with the Hierophant mixed with the Hermit. But I like that mixture. It excites me. The Thinking Man. It's just the Magician in the Mirror. And the Journey. I love this one because you have this broken down bridge, but she's illuminated, and this light is illuminating her path. But then you have these signs that are pointing everywhere. There's a lot of symbolism in these cards that I love. And to be very honest with you, the book is a great book, and I use this deck for clients a lot, and they open up the book and they take a picture of it. So then, because you have the message, and then you have like upright, then you have reversed, and you have an affirmation, which I appreciate, which I like that. I don't actually use the book that much. I use the book for clients because whenever I do a meditation circle or I do readings, um, and I let them pull for themselves, sometimes I let them take a picture of the card and a picture of the book message because then they can take that home with them because I can talk all day and they won't remember everything I say. And that's okay. Maya Angelou says people don't remember what you say, but they remember how they made you feel. So I like when the client gets a picture of the card and the message. In this deck, I also find it to be very accurate. Honestly, all of these that I'm pulling are very accurate, so I'm going to stop saying that. That's why they're my top 10 favorite. But this one is an oldie, but it's a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. It's a classic because it's a good deck. Now, the other one is also an oldie but a goodie, and it's the Psychic Tarot for the Heart. Now, this one is another one that I love. I love. John Holland also has the Psychic Tarot, which is also an oracle deck, but these are divided into 4 suits, and it has the major arcana, but it doesn't have I believe it's 1 through 9, and it doesn't have the court cards, but it does have chakra cards. These are the backs, really beautiful, all about the heart, so all green. Now, I've seen the Psychic Tarot pictures, and I'm hesitant to get it. I mean, it's great. I love it. And it feels very much like this, but that's why I don't want to get it, because it feels very similar to this. And because I already have a lot of tarot decks, I don't want another tarot, even though it's tarot/oracle. But this one is a Psychic Tarot for the Heart. So it's all about like control, manifest. But even though it says tarot for the heart, I find it to be that it's not only for relationships. This deck is amazing for pretty much any kind of, any question, really. This goes deep into your intellect. It goes deeper into your psyche, and it calls for bringing forth your subconscious and really kind of like self-studying. Plus, I find the images to be absolutely beautiful. So I love that. The art also like evokes something. So because I love this deck so much, I don't want to get the Psychic Tarot. But I'm sure eventually one day I will. But I do love this deck. I love this deck, and I find that it's not just myself. I find that other people love this deck as well. The book is pretty thick as well. It very much like the Energy Oracle. It's pretty thick, and then you have your messages. You don't have reversed, but that's okay. I don't usually read with reversals, especially when it's oracle cards. I don't really do reversals. But that's just my personal preference. But this deck is absolutely amazing, not only for the heart, not only for relationships and love, but honestly, it speaks to me. And actually, a friend of mine gave this to me. It was hers, lightly used, and it didn't really speak to her, but it really speaks to me. And I find that when I read for clients, they love the images on it. Okay, so next one I have is Kyle Gray. I think he's kind of like one of the people's favorites, right? He's all about the angels. And this is his third deck. He has the Angel Prayers, and he has the Keepers of the Light Oracle, which are both great. I prefer the Keepers of the Light better than the Angel Prayers, but I love that one. But this one, when it came out, it kind of like took it to a new level. It's almost like every time Kyle Gray comes out with a new deck, they get better. One, I think the artwork is absolutely gorgeous, and it has a little saying on the inside. It says, "Guardians of the Four Corners, Mother in the earth, Father in the sky, angels, ancestors, sacred ones. I call on you and welcome you here now." So I love that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful because it kind of like, if you put it up, on your table, you can kind of create this little altar thing, and you can call upon your guardians and your angels to help you get an accurate reading. These are the backs, absolutely gorgeous. I love this blue, teal, greenish color. It's absolutely beautiful. Then you have your book, you have your message, your about, and then the extended message that's very much Kagre. And it's 2 pages each message. That's great. And the messages are good as well. But also, you have the Elder. I just really do love the artwork. Wise One. Because there's a mixture, for example, Wise One and Elder, right? These two to me feel like a little bit, I don't know, African, but also Native American, very like indigenous, primitive is the kind of word I'm thinking of. But then you have the Knight, right? So that's a little more like Renaissance. And then you have the High Priestess, which is very Egyptian. And then you have Magic Guardian. So there are no like, he doesn't call anybody any card an angel, but he calls them guardians. And then you have Spring. So then you have the sun and the moon as well. You have the Lady, which I associate with the Empress in the tarot. The Moon. I love this card. It's so simple, but so beautiful. Direction Guardian. So this would be like your guardian angel, but he calls it the Direction Guardian. So like, I find that a lot of, and there are some in here in my top 10 that I'm going to show you guys. I find a lot of oracle cards, I only do a 1-card pull, right? Because the messages are good, and but it's almost like I just want to have an affirmation, or I just want to have like a quick message from an oracle deck. But this deck in particular really allows for a full spread. It allows for a full reading, you know. So I really do love this deck. It's really good. So far, it's, I think, my favorite from Calgary. I know, because it's the only one I pulled to show you guys. The other ones I love as well, and I do use them quite often, but this one is the one I keep gravitating towards. Okay, so next deck we have is the Shamanic Medicine. And I do love this deck because it's, of course, as the name says, very shamanic based. So then because you have your upper world, then you have soul retrieval, feathers. So everything like kind of has to do with indigenous prayer. But then you have like prayer, and then you have a keyword, which is hope. You have earth, which is nurture. Then you have the trickster, which is challenge. So I love the artwork on here, and I also find that the artwork is not just, you have stone people, which is knowing. The artwork to me, even though it's, I don't know, I don't want to say it's simple, because when you say like insects, then you see a bunch of insects, right? But it just, with the keyword plus like west, for example, then you have this circle, right? I find that I see a lot in these images that initially sometimes I didn't see, right? Sometimes I'm drawn to a line or a color or something. And I really appreciate when a card, any card, can do that. When there is a lot going on in the image, but I'm drawn to one thing. And then I pull that card again a few months from now, and I'm drawn to another thing in the same card. And this deck does that really well. Water expression. So then you have like, you can just find different ways of looking, right? The shaman, for example, he's playing the drum, and then you have this ripple effect around the drum, and then you have these spirals, and an eagle, but it also could be a phoenix, like behind him. So there's a lot going on versus just like shaman. Okay, cool. So there's a lot more to the eye. I think that this deck then meets. There's a lot more to this deck than meets the eye. That's what I'm trying to say. The book is awesome, actually. It's a really good book. It's just 2 pages, not super deep. But then, for example, the cave, you have your message, and you have like cave revealed. So it shows you like what the symbol means in the shamanic tradition. So you get to learn a little bit. Then you have cave speaks, which is almost like an invocation. It's almost like you're bringing forth that energy. You know, you can almost say it like in a prayer or say it in a meditation, which I like that. I don't always use it, but I like when decks do that because it adds a new depth to it. Like if I really connect with the message, I can go, oh, okay, I want to bring that message into my life. and I'm going to meditate on it, and it gives you a little meditation prayer. So my next one is the Quan Yin Oracle. And I love this deck so much because it's very loving. The messages here are always loving, always positive. However, if you know me, you know that I don't like to shy away from the tough messages. But this deck does it in a really loving way where it kind of like calls you out, but with encouragement. It encourages you. It shows you a more loving path versus just like being in the low vibration, in the anger, if that's how you're feeling. I have trimmed this deck because there are thick borders around it. There were. So I cut those borders. So now it's pretty much just the image. So you have the 8 Immortals. You have Enter the Jade Temple. Now, this deck is one that I only pull one card from. You have the Sisters of Light. Because here's the thing, like, drink from the Emerald Fountain. I'm not quite sure what that means. I can intuit it. I can, look at it in Blessings of the Moon Maiden. I can kind of download messages when I look at these images. Plus, these images are so beautiful. They are so beautiful. They're soft and like soothing and so delicate and feminine. And I really love that. Princess of the Autumn Harvest. So I can kind of intuit what that means. Tai Chi Rising, I love that. But the messages, it's an Alana Fairchild deck. And if you know anything about Alana Fairchild, you know that her messages are deep. So for example, the 8 Immortals, you have like a little blurb, which usually is where you can read quicker. Then you can go deeper. And then you flip the page, and then you have a whole other page. What I like about this deck as well is that you have a prayer to the 8 Immortals. The other one, prayer to the Jade Temple, for example, and then you have also a healing in the Jade Temple. The healing is like a meditation. So she gives you a meditation here, and then she also gives you a prayer. So they're long messages. So you have this full page, plus you have this second full page, plus a little bit here. And that's just the Jade Temple. So some of these go from 2 pages to 3 pages. And it's a taller, wider book than the other ones I've showed you. So Alana Fairchild, if you know anything about her, you know that her messages are really long and they're really deep. They're really powerful. So I'm not complaining at all. But it's not a deck that I read with. It's not a deck that I do long spreads with. But it is a deck that I use often. Whenever you just need that compassion and that love. And again, always accurate. I'm going to say that about all of these. Always accurate. But sometimes you get a message that you're like, I have to think about that for a few days. But then it sinks in, and then you're like, oh, okay. But Quan Yin, as you know, is the goddess of compassion, mercy, and love. So it really is a beautiful, beautiful deck. Now, the next one that I have is the Isis Oracle. In this one, I actually use it mostly for myself. The Quan Yin, I also use it for myself. I don't really use it for clients. I use it mostly for me. It doesn't stay here with the other ones. It stays away because I wanted to have my own energy. And this is the Isis Oracle. The book is thicker. The book is definitely thicker than the Quan Yin. Is a thick book. Then your messages go on for quite a bit. For example, the Knot of Isis. You have this whole page. You have these 2 pages. And then you have 2 more pages. And then you have a 5th page. So the Knot of Isis is 5 pages long of messages. So that's why this one that I use for clients, I use for myself. Because it's really deep. Then you have the Invoking, the Knot of Isis. You also have a ritual. The rituals are really small, even though there's like quite a few words here. They're really small. Like I remember doing one. I don't remember what the with a card I got, but it was just like light 4 candles, like around you, kind of creating a square. And then you say a little prayer and then it's done. So the rituals are not very long, they're not intricate, but I don't always do the rituals either. I don't always do the evocations either. But sometimes when I'm really feeling it and I really have more time, then I'll do them. But it just really is a powerful, powerful deck. You have Soul Retrieval, which we had one for the shamanic one as well. The Knot of Isis right here. I love the artwork. I really do love the artwork. It's absolutely gorgeous. Proper Burial for Freedom. But it's like, for example, Ancient Power Mysteries. I don't really know what that means either. So when it comes to these decks, this one and the Quan Yin one, and I'm going to show you a last one. It's again, I can kind of intuit something, but I prefer to look at the book because the book is so deep and so intense that I'm like, you know what? Let me see what the book has to say. Because when it comes to this deck in particular, and the Quan Yin deck as well, the way I view them is that it's like these images and these messages were channeled directly from this energy. So it's almost like I don't want to tap into it. I just want it to tell me what it wants to tell me. Does that make sense? So anyway, that's how I view this deck anyway, but I've seen people use it here on YouTube for their readings. I just find it to be such an intricate and such an intense oracle that I use it for myself, not for other people. Okay. So my next one that I fell in love with very quickly is the Wild Unknown Archetypes. And it used to have a sleeve, but I took the sleeve off because it's just a piece of paper. But this is the box that it comes in. It's a pretty big box. Opens up like that. And the cool thing is that it's a round deck. So then it comes with its own little round box, which I love. You have your book, that it's a proper book, honestly, like, thick book cover and everything. Then you have the image of the card, and then you have what it means. So I really like that. It also has like when light and when dark. So depending on which direction it comes out, it's like the light version, which is upright, and then you have the dark, which is the reversal. But because it's round, it can come, in any like shape. I will be honest with you guys. I've seen a lot of round decks out there. I don't usually love them. I don't love the artwork for some reason. I find that like a lot of round decks don't really work. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people out there love round decks, and that's totally cool. But this one, the artwork really spoke to me right off the bat. Even when I like found out before it was on sale that Kim Krans was creating a round deck, and I looked at it, I was like, these images are really beautiful and really powerful. The thread. This is Kairos. You have the box. So you see how they're all kind of like, Alethea, the poet. But yeah, like as soon as I looked at this deck, I was like, what is it? The animal. I was like, the mystic, these images really speak to me. So I, of course, got it. And I love reading with this. It's a very intense deck. I actually, to be honest with you, I haven't opened the book at all. I think when I first read with it, I opened it and I loved I loved the message of the book. The book is actually really good. Which surprised me because I do have her other decks as well, the Wild Unknown Tarot and the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. And I don't love the messages on those books. I find that whatever I pull from it intuitively is more on point. And I'm not complaining because they're great decks. But this one, I really loved what the book said. However, I also really loved what I got intuitively because her artwork is absolutely stunning. It really, again, it speaks to me. So I haven't really opened the book that much. I like just looking at it and going, okay, I get it because I feel it. So that's really what this deck, like how it speaks to me. It may speak to you differently. It's 78 cards. So, but it doesn't really follow the tarot. It's just 78 cards. Um, but yeah, this is my one and only round deck, and I'm really in love with it. Okay, let's put it away. Now I'm going to show you another oracle deck. It's the Yogi Bath. It also came with a blue sleeve, but I took it out. Pretty big box, opens up like that, has a ribbon, which I appreciate. Thank you for those that put ribbons in your boxes, especially when it comes in a big box like this. Then you have your book, which is also a proper book. Now, Kyle Gray does that in his book as well, and the Psychic Terra for the Heart also does this, and other decks do it as well, and it drives me insane. The Animal Spirit, which I cannot understand why that one is not in order. What I mean by not in order is there is no numerical order, and there are no alphabetical order. These creators, they divide these decks into like 4 suits or 5 suits or 6 suits, whatever they want to do creatively, which is fine. That doesn't bother me that it's divided in suits. What bothers me is that I cannot find it in the book, because when I'm reading for myself or for clients, I'm like, okay, this is letter S or number 20. I'm just going to flip right through it. Great, found it. But these are not like that. So every time I have to go to the table of contents, because you have spirituality, you have Ayurveda cards, you have chakra cards, you have yoga cards, and you have deity cards. So they're all separated in suits, which again doesn't bother me. And I know that it makes for the book to be color coded, if you guys can see that. So it makes it for a beautiful book. This book is absolutely gorgeous. You have a full color, then you have the message upright and reversed, but it does not make for an easy find. Now this one is color coded, so it's probably easier. However, Kyle Gray, for example, or this one that drives me nuts, Work Your Light Oracle. Sorry guys, I'm deviating, but I'm going to show you guys just because it really drives me crazy. It's separated into 4 suits. It's separated into confirmation cards, inquiry cards, action cards, activation cards, and transmission cards. Awesome. Here's the thing. All of them have this little triangle on it. That triangle doesn't change, which means it doesn't indicate which suit it is. That's also fine. And I don't mind that it's an action card, or I don't mind that it's an activation card or a transmission card, but I do mind that there are no numbers and it's not in alphabetical order for me to find it quickly. Especially when I'm reading for clients. So, deck creators, please don't do that anymore. Please find some sort of organization system in your book. But that's enough of my rant. So a Yogic Path is probably, I think, the most beautiful oracle deck I've ever seen. Because, well, the book, like I said, it's really, really beautiful, color-coded. These are your Ayurveda cards. And the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. This is the box. I love blue, and I love flowers. So it really speaks to me. You have your ribbon here as well. You pull it out. These are the backs, right? Like, it's just really, really beautiful. And for all this gold foil that you see, it really wasn't super expensive. And then here I have the cards, which I think the images are absolutely beautiful. Everyone knows Danielle Noel. She's a famous artist in the spiritual community because she created the Starchild Oracle. No, sorry, Tarot, and the Moonchild Tarot. So these are really beautiful. I love these images. I love the mixture of like very traditional statues mixed in with collage and more contemporary artwork. So yeah, just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous images. And the messages also read really well. This is a deck I have not done a full spread with. It doesn't really call to me to do a full spread. It's another deck that I use for myself or for clients. I've used it for videos here as well. And I find that it works well when I'm trying to find when I want to know the main theme, the overarching theme of a reading. Because you have deities, you have Ayurveda, you have your chakras. So it's like, oh, what should this person tap into? Or what is this about? Oh, it's about your heart chakra. It's about love. It's about connection. Great, let's look into that. Or if you get the card of Durga, it's about owning your power, and it's about shedding what's old, and it's about creating really healthy boundaries and letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore. So then you kind of understand more, but it's more effective to me, the way I found, for it to be only one card pull versus a whole spread. All right, now we have gotten to what has been lately, I think, my favorite oracle deck, and it's the Archangel Metatron Self-Mastery Oracle. It's by Amanda Ellis, and she's one of my favorite channels here on YouTube. And I love this deck. I was really excited when she announced that she was coming out with the deck. I was like, yes, I need to have it immediately. And as soon as it was out, I got it. It's a pretty big box. It's really cool. Magnet opening. And one thing is she didn't have a ribbon on it. And I found it a little bit difficult to pull the book out. So I stapled my own ribbon, which honestly doesn't bother me. I don't mind doing that to the box. So it really wasn't a huge deal. And then you have here your book. Book is also super high quality. You have a full image, color image, and then you have a full page of messages. For example, this one too, like I love, because she gives you not just the message, the channeled message from Archangel Metatron, but like, for example, card number 8, right? She tells you what the number 8 means, and it's linked to planet Saturn. And then she says it concerns duty, responsibility, security, and discipline, all qualities needed for good leadership, right? So like you kind of understand why it's number 8. It wasn't just like, oh, this is my number 8 card, who cares? No, it has a meaning. Even like card number 33, master number, it says 33 is linked to crystalline light and higher powers. So then she gave the name of the dimensional gateway, because it's about higher powers, tapping into that higher calling, right? So everything here was made with intention, which I really appreciate. Even the backs too. She talked about it briefly in one of her videos, that it's a Merkabah, right? That's a symbol of Archangel Metatron. But not only that, but she said that the Merkabah being behind, being the backs of the cards, it also serves as a protection, like almost like a protection image or a protection symbol for the deck. It keeps it kind of like constantly cleansing itself and keeps it like super high vibe. So I love that. And I love the images. You have lilac, you have codependency, you have go with the flow, and then it says pedal on. Then you have as above, so below, heaven and earth. So then you have like not just the image, not just the numbers, because they also mean something. Then you have the name of the card and then like some keywords to it. Kundalini, untapped energy, like absolutely beautiful signs, endings, red. So actually I love that too. Like you have the color of red, right? And then you can just tap into that color. So then you have red. What does red mean in your society? And then you have red as the root chakra color. And then you have this indigenous person, this Native American, then also to me calls for ancestors. So then it's not just red anymore. Now you have this whole depth to just one card. And I find that these images really do that really well. You have air, and then you have platonic solid. See, like there's just a lot going on in these images. It's not just an open gateway, but then you have the key, and it says boundaries, set them daily, right? You have the tree of life with Archangel Metatron and Archangel Xenophon and all the archangels in between. So this is honestly one of my favorite oracle decks. This one, yes, the cards individually are really powerful, and you can pull just one card, but it's not just for one card pull. It also allows itself to to have a full-on spread. For me, as a tarot card reader, I like to pull cards, right? I like spreads. I like understanding and connecting all the different images. And this deck does that really, really well. And that was number 10. Yay! Now I have one more honorable mention, and it's the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. This is an honorable mention because, like I said, with the Isis Oracle and the Quan Yin Oracle, I use it just for myself. But sometimes I do use it for other people. It kind of like travels this fine line between being read for clients, rarely, and then me mostly for myself. This one is just for me. If you guys saw my my top 10 tarot cards, you saw that the Spirit Keeper's Tarot by Benabel Wen is one that I read only for me. The Lightworker Oracle, that's the Oracle version of that deck for me. I find the images to be absolutely stunning. Like, just this deck, as soon as I touched it, as soon as I picked it up, as soon as I looked at the images, I was like, this deck is high vibe. It's powerful, it's intense, it's loving, it's angelic, but it's also cosmic. It's your higher self talking to your lower self. It's everything. It's grounding, but also it's elevating. It really serves like all kinds of purposes. And this one is the one that I open up the book every time, because not only do I get like an intuitive message when I look at the images and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I know what that means. Look how beautiful that is, right? Past life activation. So not only I can trust in the plan, so not only I can intuit a message for myself, but then you have the book, which is always on point, and it's always like, again, high vibe, but loving, but it doesn't shy away from calling you out, which sometimes can be tough, but I appreciate that, because how else do we better ourselves other than fully understanding ourselves? In this book, the messages are not as long as the Isis Oracle. They are about like 2 pages, and then like a little bit at the end, but they're mostly just 2 pages. Let me see if I can find a spread for you guys to show. Like the 4th ray of harmony, you have this full page, and then you have the back page, and that's it. Not that's it. There's a long, but you have the full image. The full message, and you have an invocation, which an invocation is like a prayer. So you have a prayer for like each of these cards that are so beautiful, so colorful, and so angelic, and just like, to me, super high vibe. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of like give this deck a shout out, because I reserve it for myself. It's just for me. And I find that to be really important. I find that to be important, especially for us in the spiritual community, for us card readers or teachers or, healers. We give all the time, right? We're such givers. We pull all of our decks, we pull all of our intuition to help other people. But I find that we never really reserve one thing just for us. So I wanted to do that for myself. I wanted to keep a tarot deck and an oracle deck just for me. And the Spirit Keeper's Tarot is that. And the Lightworker's Oracle is that as well for myself. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my 10/11 top oracle cards of all time so far. All right, guys, enjoy your week. Much love out there.